We've got the programs manager of Cool FM and Wazobia FM in Port Harcourt. We've got China Acheru. China, you're welcome to the show. China, you have to save us. I have you and Jidechi in this conversation, and I would like to hear your thoughts concerning this, because I'm beginning to wonder, will Enyimba, Remo Stars and Kano Pillars be relegated this season? Can the NPFL afford a relegation for these three powerhouses in Nigerian football? China, let's begin with you. You're welcome to the conversation. Let's hear your thoughts concerning that. Having covered over 1,000 NPFL matches, how do you explain? How do you paint the picture? What do you tell the next generation of the current struggles of historical dominant sides like Enyimba, Kano Pillars and Remo Stars this season?
We'll tell them exactly what happened, that they got relegated. I've looked at that league table over and over again. I've looked at it since Sunday nights, and at least one of them will go down. Maybe two of them, maybe three of them, but at least one will go down. Right now, it's inevitable. Remo Stars firmly rooted to the bottom of the table. I don't see them winning games that would take them out. They need to win away from home. It's sad, and it comes with focus. For Remo Stars, just maybe their focus changed. Just maybe their focus changed. For Enyimba, it had to do with management. The moment Nwankwo Kanu and Ifeanyi Ekweme got in, the complaints started. So it had to do with poor management, which led to poor recruitment of players, and over time it affected the team. For Bayelsa United, who are hovering around relegation zone, one-time league champions, inconsistency. They've been up and down a few times before. But the biggest concern for Nigerians is Enyimba, Remo Stars, and Kano Pillars. Like I said, I think one of them will go down. What do we tell the next generation? Listen, it happens. If you don't prepare well, then things like this will happen. So I'm really not surprised.
Indeed, I'm sure that Jidechi is not surprised too. But Jidechi, with what you've seen so far this season, what structural or maybe managerial changes or challenges contributed to these turbulent times that we are seeing for these three sides this season? Did you observe a few that you'd like to mention?
Sure, you need that I will not be surprised. I am absolutely surprised. I'm not sure anybody predicted Remo to be in the relegation zone. But I think one of the things we've seen, which is, according to Remo fans, one of the complaints as to why they are currently in the relegation zone is the way the league has been structured from time immemorial, right? We always have that tendency to lose our best legs. We always have the tendency to lose the quality that we have in the league, the little quality, because we don't have a lot of it. And the little quality we have in the league, they tend to leave after a season that they perform so superbly. And I think it's just been a consistent factor. And it boils back to the league. How do you structure your league in such a way that you can retain quality? Because when you do not retain quality, clubs will continue to struggle. We have Enyimba, who year in, year out, for some reason, there will always be one or two Enyimba players, whether they do so well that season or not. There will always be one or two Enyimba players that will seem to stand head above the others. But where are they the next season, and why is a club like Enyimba continually struggling? It makes absolutely no sense. So I think once the league is one that quality cannot be retained, you get to have things of this nature where, because the league champions perform so well, some of their key players get to leave the team, and then the team goes in a struggle mode. But I think with Remo Stars, it's a bit more bewildering, because you have Remo Stars who have one of the best football academies in the country. So you want to ask yourself, why can't the young stars who have the talents be drafted in to fix the problem? It makes absolutely no sense that we have a team that won the league, a team that has dominated the league for the past 4 or 5 years. Remo Stars, alongside Rivers United, have been in the top 3 for the last 5 years. So it makes no sense that just the season after they win the league, they are not in the top 10. They are not in the top 15. They are the last place team in the league. I mean, we have to find a way to maintain quality in this league.
Maintaining quality in this league. I'm going to happen that last words of yours, Jidechi, and bring in China into this conversation again. China, he says, we have to find a way of maintaining quality in this league. But I would like to ask you this question, because I've heard several times that every time we have a champion in the league, the next season will not see the same crop of players that executed the games that led to them lifting the trophy for the season. How have changes in players' development, club administration and league competitiveness, how has it affected these three sides who are usual front-runners in the league?
There's a high turnover of players from the Nigerian league, which is not a good thing. We all know that every season, the players at clubs change. But what these top clubs have been able to do is, when they lose players, they're able to get the best from the league to join them. That's what Rivers United have done over the years. That's what clubs like Rangers have done over the years. Rangers always hover around top 4, top 5 every season. That's what clubs like Enyimba have done over the years. But for Remo Stars, I would have named them as probably the most consistent side in the league in the past 4 seasons, like Jidechi said. They're always in the top 3, and they finally win the league, and this happens to them. For me, I can't place my finger on what happened to Remo Stars. Did they just give up? Did the owner just give up? What happened? Because you can lose players, but you can replenish with the best in the league. But Remo Stars just crashed. I don't know if anybody can explain how they crashed. They just crashed. So it's tough. But like I said, players will leave because when you talk about how much our players earn, compared to what Nigerians earn, you think it's good enough. Our players earn 600, 700, 800, maybe 900,000 monthly, depending on the club, which is not bad. But when you compare this to what their peers earn outside the country, in Egypt, in Tanzania, and South Africa, I'm not even talking about Europe. You know that everybody wants to leave the country at the slightest opportunity. They want to leave the country. They go to places like Oman, like Bangladesh, because even when they're paid just $2,000 a month or $3,000 a month, which is poor by world standards, it's a lot by Nigerian standards. So we really can't stop our players from leaving. They're going to keep leaving. But what do we do by sustaining what we have? It's tough for Nigerian league. But like I said, big clubs like Rivers United and Enyimba, before now, they try to get the best from around the league to replenish those that leave. I think what our clubs should do, we need more financial investment. As far as our players are leaving, because you can't stop them from leaving, you can invade the West African sub-region and get players that can replace those that left. But we can't keep our players here when there are better opportunities outside the country. No way you can keep them here.
All right, how can we help these struggling sides? Because it's so unheard of, and I'm not used to calling them struggling sides because they never struggle in the league so far. This season, we are seeing something that surprises a lot of people, a lot of football fans who follow the Nigeria Premier Football League. So what can be done to help the struggling sides? Should they put their house in order so as to have great results on the pitch of play? Or there's a systemic adjustment that can be done for the Nigeria Premier Football League for these sides to have a bit of redemption or maybe awake from the dead? China, I have this question for you.
Listen, I agree with systemic, but for systemic adjustment or progress, it's not a 1 year or 2 year or 5 year thing. It's as much as a 10-year project. But do we have the patience? I've always said it that from as far back as 1990, we looked at the Nigerian league as poor in quality because players would always leave. But what have we done? We need to start a program that can keep the league alive. One, what do the clubs really want? Do they want to play for just 3 points, or do they want to really develop football? So clubs should begin to invest in their own academies, not buying players to play in the NPFL under 15 league. No, they need to have 8th grade football at the club level. So once one player leaves, they have probably a replacement from within. So clubs need to see that investment, which may not pay off for 5, 6, 7 years. I keep asking people, in the last 10 years, how many players have left for Europe from our league? It's from academies. Look at the Super Eagles. The likes of Victor Osimhen, Wilfred Ndidi, that actually played in Nigeria. They didn't play for an NPFL club. They left from the academies. So the academies are doing better than the clubs. So the clubs need to ask themselves, what are these academies doing that we are not doing? We need to begin to invest in youth, in real youth. And if we do that, once one person leaves, there is an adequate replacement from within the ranks. Like I said, it's not something that will pay off in 1 year or 2 years. And we don't have that kind of patience. It's probably 5, 8, 10 years before we start seeing the result. But we must be patient to build our league, because if the product is not attractive, then people will be interested in an unattractive product. And right now, the product is really not attractive, so people are not interested. But we need to start from somewhere. And the club must ask themselves tough questions. What do we want? 3 points every Sunday or real football development?
All right, I think at the moment we have Kano Pillars and also Ahmed Musa bring into reality that statement that says you may be a fantastic football player, but might not be so good when it comes to management or administration. And I think they both have put into reality that particular statement. Jidechi, we can see that both clubs, Enyimba especially, are having off-pitch issues. Kano Pillars are having the struggle with their fans and also with conduct in the Nigeria Premier Football League. One cannot place a finger on what is really happening to the private side called Remo Stars. I would love to ask you, do you think anything should be done by the board of the Nigerian Football Federation or even the Nigeria Premier Football League when they notice that there is an off-pitch issues with clubs that is affecting performances on the pitch of play?
I mean, absolutely, off-field issues would always affect performances, but it doesn't always have to affect performances, right? These are not the only clubs in the world. We see all over the world, sometimes some clubs are not in a state that you'd expect them to be, but the team is still doing decently. Might not be great, but they're still doing fine. And so it makes absolutely no sense why all the time there's always that the club is not doing well. In fact, sometimes it feels like a very good excuse to make. Oh, we're having off-field issues and that's why it's affecting the club. It makes absolutely no sense to me. Football, just like China said, it's a business, right? You should be able to run a model that, irrespective of whatever else might be happening, the model is still flowing effectively. Because if you have decent players and maybe the management is having issues, the players should be able to execute what it is they are being sent out to do.
So should the Nigeria Premier Football League board, should they always step in to handle these issues, to get their acts together, as not to allow these issues affect players on the pitch of play? Should they always step in at times like this?
That's the point I'm trying to make. They can't always step in, right? Because clubs are being run independently at the end of the day. You can't say you're running a club and you're always expecting the league body or an outsider to come and put your house in order. You have to find a way. Issues are sure to abound or are sure to come up at some points in your running of the club. You can't run maybe for 5 years or 10 years and you cannot say this club will not have one issue or the other at one point or the other. But the question, how do you manage it? It doesn't always have to take the league body coming to tell you. It's the league body is always coming to tell you, do this, don't do that. Your fans are being chaotic or you're not paying your players. Or if they have to always tell you that, then it means you're not ready to run a football business. It's simple as that. So, I mean, these clubs have to find a way to put themselves in order because at the end of the day, it's to your service if everything runs good for your club. All
right. Okay, quickly, before I let China go, China, if you can do this in seconds, I'll really appreciate that. Out of the three who have been usual front runners, who do you think would finally get relegated? And who do you think will get themselves out of relegation and then stay in the top flight? Quickly, please.
Remo goes down for sure. Nothing will save Remo Stars. They will go down. Enyimba might just survive, but Remo goes down for sure. Okay.
We'll see to that prediction there by China Acheru. China, thank you so much for joining us on the show. We appreciate your thoughts, sharing your thoughts with us on the show. And we'll be looking out for Remo Stars if surely they will come out of the dead. Thank you so much.